Hi guys, Ben here from 100nman, and in this podcast I thought I would just talk about food and overcoming the common misconceptions, or really getting honest with the approach towards food. Now, for most of us, we understand the difference between good, supportive, healthy options and those unsupportive, unhealthy options that contain masses of processed and not particularly energy-free chemicals. One thing that I've said in the past and I stand by is that processed foods are not good. Now, I mean that in the lightest possible sense, but believe in it a extremely strong way. Even for the most healthiest, there's no getting away from some kind of refinement or processing. I take omega-3s, 6 and 9 tablets. They, of course, are refined and processed. But where my main diet is concerned and where my main staples are, I try where possible and actively look for ingredients that I can process and prepare myself. For example, root vegetables. It's not convenient for me to grow all my own root vegetables or live by the seasons for two things. One, I don't have the time, so there's an element of convenience by buying them already grown and ready for my consumption. But also my climate. I enjoy a multitude of different ingredients that can't be grown at certain times of the year from my country, or just not a produce from where I'm from. So there's an element of convenience from buying from mass stores or your local store. And that is not an area that I have a problem with. And certainly I don't have a problem with the mass superstores. As a business, as a culture, we've begun to, or become to rely upon them. And there's a lot of bad energy out there for the masses of supermarkets, but there is no getting away from the convenience element. Not all of us are ready, committed, or prepared to be growing, nurturing, and looking after our own produce. Even, the vegan movement or the vegetarian movement. Not all vegans have the time to be growing their own fruits and vegetables. The thought and the aspirations is very nice and would be nice, but the convenience of doing so is just not practical in pretty much every sense possible. I would love to be harvesting my own meats and my own vegetables, and where possible I make the choice to do exactly that, but I'd pretty much be a full-time farmer if that was going to be a full-time way of life. So I guess what I'm saying is I haven't got a problem with the mass supermarkets, despite a lot of the healthy food or whole food movement looking at them with a slightly tainted glasses. Where I think that they're not the most supportive is in packaging or providing produce in a way that is somewhat confusing. Now, in my world, and this isn't particularly true of everybody, I see little need to be buying something that is processed because it is faster to cook and consume. For me, with a small amount of education in cooking, and again, I'm no chef, I've done a number of nutritional qualifications, but I'm in no way an expert within the field. With little knowledge, you can actually change and radicalize in a positive way, utilizing base ingredients to produce some fantastic meals, some highly supportive meals, combining, the macros, so protein, carbohydrates and fats. And it doesn't take long. You can rustle up a decent sweet potato salad within 15 minutes. You can prepare a sweet potato in advance and keep it in the fridge if needed. So the argument with fast food being fast, I'm not sure really I subscribe to that. And when we get down to the honesty of and the truth behind our approach towards food, we know that picking something that has been packaged in a way that is been designed to sell to us, we know that there's a reason why they're attempting to sell. There's a need behind that. We know that many products out there are hiding behind their packaging labels. They're distracting the mind with images of various bits and pieces on the cover. And when you look at raw food ingredients, or ingredients that are still remaining in their original state, we know that they need little in terms of PR. They need little in terms of being required to sell or to be sold to. You don't need to be sold to. A banana is a banana at the end of the day. It comes in its own packaging. Yet many people, and probably some of those people that need better choices or need to be making better choices. And I think some people who have been distracted in the choices that they've been making with their food and need to slow down the shopping process. In a fast-paced life, we're looking to cut corners. And sadly, one of the first corners that is cut is during the food selection. We see a jar of pasta sauce as a convenient way just to throw it in. Well, in actual fact, it's just as easy while you're preparing the pasta or boiling the pasta to make a homemade pasta sauce without the masses of sugar that's contained within a number of these sauces. The same can be said with ready-made curries and things like this. You can make a decent curry in less than 5 minutes. To microwave a curry takes 2 minutes, a minute to stand or to mix, and then another 2 minutes in the microwave. With very little education, with very little knowledge and research, you can prepare, consume, and develop your diet into something that is not only started life in a raw state, but also you're aware of the whole process. You're aware of what's actually in it. And it starts all with the supermarkets. It starts with your choices that you're making. Next time you're in the supermarket, perhaps look at the person in front of you shopping if their food is displayed on a conveyor belt. And then look at them. And then look back and look at yours. And just wonder what they're thinking about your diet. Spend a few moments just thinking about how your diet reflects how you're feeling, what's going on the inside. Whether your food choices are supportive in a way that's going to produce a healthy, long, vibrant life, or whether they're pale, there's lots of hydrogenated fats, whether the food's going to be slowing down your development, supporting your mind, your body, your overall well-being. And I think when you start to become very honest with yourself at that level, at that time, when you're deciding to make that purchase over another, I think you begin to see, maybe not immediately, but certainly over a couple of weeks, a complete shift in your approach towards food and the value that you're attaching to food. Because ultimately we are, I guess, a byproduct of what we consume. If you're after a healthy and supportive life, then perhaps you need to be providing the body with the energy it requires from a healthy and broad diet. So that's just what I was feeling today, what thoughts I had kicking around about food choice and where it really starts from. For me, we are the byproduct of what we put into our body in every sense, from sensory acuity, so from your touch, your smell, your taste, your sight, all the way down to how the gut digests and what we excrete in every possible sense. But ultimately it starts when we make the choice to put something into our shopping basket, when we take the time perhaps to just expand our diet and remove those unhealthy eating choices. So that's it for me. Remember to subscribe to keep up to date with a number of my other podcasts and articles that I'm going to be firing out over the next coming weeks. But for now, thanks for tuning in and peace out.